Welcome, dude.
Thank you. This is amazing.
I was trying to figure out what we would talk about.
Oh.
And then I remembered we worked together for 10 years?
Oh man, it's longer than that, dude. We were at you worked Norwalk. I was at Norwalk I got there in 2000 and went all through patrol and everything. You were at OSS and then I followed you to the spy team, the tech ops team, undercover team. And I'm going to leave with 18 and a half years as a detective.
You're actually turning in your equipment right now. So you are literally wrapping it up.
It was emotional.
They come out and they actually show a lot of respect for the guys. I mean, I was turning in my equipment and guys were rolling themselves up.
Oh yeah, because that's the timing.
Yeah, so they were actually quitting. And I was retiring. And then also there was guys from the academy getting their guns and their gun belt, because they do it in the same building. And I say, what a contrast in just levels of where everybody's at. I mean, but they look like little babies.
Oh yeah.
And I'm thinking that was me in 1991.
91.
Jesus,
crazy.
But they're real respectful. They take your stuff with dignity. They kind of like talk you through it. And nobody's like when you got your stuff, they're just throwing it at you. Sign here.
Oh my gosh! You remember the black gentleman? I don't remember his name.
Yeah. But he was the greatest guy.
He was great, but when you came in there and he had 100 people to do, man, he was yelling.
Get over here! When you're in the academy, he was a different man.
Get over here! Stand up! What are you doing? What are you doing over there in the corner? Son?
He was like a ramrod, dude. He really was.
I was laughing. I told Linda, but yesterday I told her, I said, this is totally different than what I went through.
I mean, I get yelled by those guys, and I got yelled at the guy giving me my flashlight.
Oh, it was funny. But then I looked at Melinda at one point. I saw all these people, like you just said. I didn't know that happened, and they all come out. Thank you, sir. And everything changed from, you're just deputy general. And then I told them what I did and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, sir. And then I looked at Melinda and she looked at me. She had like doe eyes. I looked at her. You all right? She goes, I had no idea what you guys did. Mm-hmm. She goes, I've heard the stories. We went on vacation with Yoli and Adam, and we've heard you tell stories, and you and Adam, and it's so colorful to hear the stories. She goes, but
it's a different world.
No idea.
That civilians don't know the world that the guys travel around. It's just like when I try to explain things, like they don't see it in the light of I see it. Like when you and I worked together, we would tell a story to each other, and it was hilarious. But we told a civilian, they look at us like, you guys are so cynical. You're so black-hearted.
You're so jaded.
Yeah.
Well, that's not my fault.
No, I would just say, how the heck do you go through that all the time and be serious about it? You have to make light of things. And I remember being at Homicides, and guys are like talking and laughing, but we're laughing about something we did in jails together or something. But people outside were looking at us like, well, and you got to be careful because people are feeling different emotions, and we're not connected to that. We're trying to be separate. I
can't tell you how many times I've been caught on photo from news cameras because we're down the street from a murder, and we're not, like you said, it's perfect. We got chastised for something, and like, hey, we haven't seen him in 20 years, and he just showed up to a homicide, and we're like, gosh, how you doing? How's your little boy? All that kind of stuff. And they think we're sitting there talking about
this. I remember when you did that.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's worse if you're radio car partners.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like,
really bad. Yeah. And you have no idea what it takes to deal with that kind of evil. You can't talk about it all the time because it'll ruin your life. So there has to be an outlet. And the only thing the opposite of evil is what? Love. Yeah. So we love the guys we're with. You know why? Because they're going to get us home.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the main thing.
And no one's gone through the stuff we've gone through together. And I compare it to like when you do that stuff where you say, well, you bonded because of life or death stuff. It's not like a day-to-day 9 to 5. Sometimes you go home and you go, man, I'm lucky I made it home. That was scary. But you also remember the guy that was with you during it, and you never forget that.
And he might have been the guy that got you, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't lose that. But you don't lose it if you haven't seen him for 10 years. When you see him in 10 years, because we see a guy in the academy, and I won't see him till I freaking 25, 35 years later because we're training. Yeah. But you remember each other. Oh, yeah. And first thing he's going to say is, remember in the academy you got yelled at for doing, dude.
Remember that dumb thing you did? Don't remind me.
I got to bring up bullshit.
Yeah. That happened to me in the academy. The first day we had to wear a suit. I was wearing a Granimal suit. I got called out, man. I was the class clown. I'm like, what's wrong with my suit?
Yeah, we had a guy with a shiny brown suit. That
was me.
He said, are you Miami Vice?
Oh, yeah. I thought I was living large. I'm like, I got a good suit. No, I guess I didn't.
Everybody's in black. Everybody's in black. Gosh. Black suit, black. And then one, and they got him.
It's funny you said that, going back to the your relationship is forged in fire. And I don't remember the quote, But I saw it on a hat tip, and not to bring somebody else up, but I saw it on Sean Ryan. Somebody asked him a question of that. They actually asked him a question because of what he did for the service of this country. And he gave the quote, and I apologize, I don't know it verbatim, but he said, I have friends. I have a lot of friends. He goes, but those men that I served with, that I made it home with, or maybe I made it home because of them, or them because of me, that's a friendship forged in fire.
Yeah.
And no other relationship can compare to that.
Nothing. You will walk into a room and see somebody you respect, like somebody you really respect, and it's just a dynamic where you just change into a different conversation. You don't use a lot of stupid jargon. You actually, like, when I talk to the sergeants that I like put up here, I don't walk up and go, "What's up, dude?" Like I would do with you. "Hey,
Yes,
sir."
Sir.
This is almost a 60-year-old man, and I'll call a 65-year-old sir every day of the week if that he is a sir.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" And they go, "Hey, Adam, how you doing?" We'll talk back and forth, and I never lose the level I should be talking to them at, and it's the standard that these people deserve that I won't go lower, and I would never try to bullshit them and start talking like we talk, because we've been in the car forever.
Have you ever had that conversation with anybody?
Which one?
Why do you call her ma'am or sir?
Oh, all the time.
I always have to explain it, and I'm like, just because you have your opinion, you're not going to change mine.
No.
There's a reason I do that.
There will always be sirs.
When we get called somewhere,
Yeah.
it's usually that person's worst day of their life.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, lady, that doesn't work.
No.
It's ma'am and sir.
But when you work with certain people, and like, I'll name people sometimes, like Liam. I mean, he'll always be sir to me because of what he did. These guys, and he was my sergeant forever, but he will always be sir because of what I learned from him just by watching his leadership. Mm-hmm. He was just in charge. The man was just amazing.
He didn't just say it, he lived it.
No, people knew when he walked in the room, this guy is old Firestone. He's a freaking good dude. He doesn't run around being mean to people, or he's just in charge. He's always in control.
You knew what you had with it. You knew what you got with him. It was always steady. He if he was hard on you, it's probably because you did something wrong.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But you learned from it,
and you felt bad.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't feel like you were mad because he was upset with you for something. Yeah. It was, I got to do better because I want to be up to what he's right, and I want to be up to that standard.
A lot of that, and you see that, and we saw that in Dwayne Harris. Mm-hmm. Very rarely did he get upset, Dwayne. But his thing was, I thought I taught you that. I'm disappointed in you, but then I'm looking back he looked back at himself. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I didn't teach him that.
No, Dwayne was another one that commanded respect, and he was my first sergeant at OSS. Yeah. And it didn't start well.
Yeah, I remember.
But it ended up fantastic. He didn't want me on his team because he didn't know who I was.
That's how we met. You remember that's where we met.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't want me. He's like, I walked into his room and he says, "I'm just going to let you know I didn't want you on this team." I'm like, "Well, nice to meet you too."
Thanks. That's a vote of confidence. I'll do great for you.
So I did my thing, and your first day OSS, you're thinking, "Oh man, I gotta act right and stay in line." And he walked up later, and we had a conversation, and he said, "I didn't know, and I apologize, and let's start from now." And from that day forward, we're best friends.
Some of the best men I've ever met are those men willing to fall on the sword when it's.
Well, he got info from
wrong info. Yep.
I mean, I admit it. You admit it. The guys, I look at people with more respect by their enemy list. Oh, if you tell me that guy doesn't like you, or this person or that brass said this to you, or some lieutenant that you just don't get along with, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I might like you because we don't get along either.
It's interesting you say that because yesterday we'll go back and we'll come back to where we were at. We'll use OSS as the preceptor back. But yesterday when I was talking to those two girls, there was two people helping me. Mm-hmm. One was the go-getter, would get the gopher, and the other one was writing everything down and making everything good. But they asked me a question, and my answer to them was, when I started this job, the person that I was worried about was in the street or on the other side of the jail cell, in the jail cell. Today, as I walk away from this department, my biggest fear is the people I work next to and the administration that runs it. Mm-hmm. And I said, remember, the most difficult thing you'll deal with here, I don't know what level you plan on staying at, whether you're going to go stay civilian or go try to become a deputy or something. Your biggest hurdle is going to be dealing with the people next to you as a county employee. Mm. Those are going to be the people that are great. There's some great people that will back you up, and there's some other people that will just step over you on their way.
Yeah, but the luxury of the department that we were in, 12,000 total.
Yeah.
You could make a really bad connection to somebody. You could have a real bad time with someone, and then next day they're gone, and you'll never see them again because they'll just go into some other unit that you'll never ever meet.
That was the benefit. That's a huge benefit.
But if they got into some place in charge and you want, forget it.
They usually take their bad decisions with them.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I tell people all the time that are still, I know members that are still in the department. I tell them all the time, it's just got to wait it out. Because you might be on the bricks for something, and you might have, I know you didn't do anything wrong, but this person's holding something against you because they want to promote or whatever. I said, they're going to move on. And then the next person coming in, if they don't get debriefed on you, you're going to be fine. Because they're going to meet that you're a good dude and you know your stuff. But if the guy leaving is petty enough to badmouth you on the way out the door, then that's something else you got to deal with.
That's a great point. And one of the greatest compliments to this career at the end of it, I mean, some people stay in patrol their whole life. That's fine. That's great. That's good for them. Some people go back and work custody because it works better for them, or courts or whatever. That maybe it's a family situation, and that hourly or that schedule works best for them.
Well, there's people that don't know. We have to start in the jails, or we have to. Deputies all go to academy, go to jail, or they'll go to, let's say, court services, or to. Yeah. But we don't go straight to patrol from the sheriff's department. You have to go somewhere before.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know the difference between a municipality and a sheriff's department. The municipality, like if you say Whittier PD and LA County Sheriff's, the difference is that chief gets their charter. That police department gets their charter from the county sheriff's charter. And their chief is an at-will employee of the mayor. Yeah. So, but the sheriff isn't.
He's elected official. Yeah.
And he's our he's
I wish they remember that sometimes.
No, they forget. They don't understand. Like, why are you doing this? Well, the only person that can do it is the sheriff because he's an elected official. So if you're going to do election fraud, you have to go to the elected sheriff.
That's why you and I have had this conversation many times in the car. It's like I got hired up. Sherman Block was my sheriff.
Yeah, me too.
So Sherman hired me, and I was like, that man just did what he said was right. He did, this is what I'm doing. It's my department. He knew he was an elected official, and he knew he was in charge of the sheriff's department, and nobody else could tell him what to do because they could vote him out if they didn't like what he did.
He knew his role very well.
And then you had other departments, they're beholden to the mayor and to their boards and their councils. But the sheriff, Sherman Block knew he was an elected official. He never let somebody tell him how to run his department. And then I remember when it changed. I remember all of a sudden we're doing all this other stuff. And then I was, the new guys are coming in going, yeah, we're doing this. And I go, why are we doing any of that stuff? And I just got so down on it because it's hard enough doing the job. Now we got to do all this other stuff. What happened to In-N-Out burgers and fries? Yeah. We're doing all this other stuff. There's departments for this stuff you guys want to do. Why do we want to get a guy who trained to do law enforcement to go do something that he's not trained for? Or you got to give him an hour training at some little, this is what you're going to do now. And I'm not going to mention what they are, but it's a bunch of stuff. And those guys are now thinking, what is my job? I knew what my job was because it was cut and dry. Sherman Block was take people to jail. Yeah, bad people go to jail.
They've muddied the water so much. I mean, when we walked out of the academy, when I went through the academy after you went through the O.J. Simpson case that occurred. Yeah. So they added 6 weeks to the academy just for domestic violence.
Reginald Denny.
Here's another hat to wear.
Another thing, dude.
So at the end of it, you got 16 hats to wear, and then they add more, and they wonder. I don't understand why this doesn't work. I know why, because when you get to the top and you're whatever rank you are, you have 4 things to do. Nobody's added anything to you. They've just taken them away. Yeah. So it's funny that they don't understand why this doesn't work. And a lot of it is because they're so far removed from the street that
there's a need for some of them, like community relations, those guys. Yeah, I get it. I get all that. But I mean, when I got on with Rodney King, happened in a few months, and all of a sudden policies started changing.
Yeah.
And then, you were talking about the LAPD thing. Everything changes. And then we were saying, well, you told me I was going to do this, and this is what I signed up for. Why am I going to have to do this other stuff? And they're going, well, that's what we're moving to. You guys have to morph or whatever. And it wasn't easy.
Remember this conversation we had? You'll remember why when I start talking about it. It hits this perfectly. You and I went through a time where, when we went through the academy, I had Roberto Kazi as one of my force guys. And Roberto Kazi was a Filipino. He was a black belt. I can't remember all his different stuff. Badass fighter. But he never talked about it. He didn't talk about that stuff. He just was there to train you to get home safely. And his philosophy was, if somebody decides, which is a very bad decision on their part, to give you a little love while you're trying to take them to jail, you give all the love and more that they need, and then stop and take them to jail. And for those people that don't understand what love means, it doesn't say punk on our back. It says sheriff.
No.
And so sometimes it's not a pretty job. Sometimes it forces.
But that's the conflict, though. I'm trying to tell you, Dan. Is like you understand it. I'm not preaching to the choir here, but the guys that trained us, when we had to, like, I remember I got into some stuff and I had to go back. Like, you have to go to AOT. You have to sit down with AOT. You have to sit down with the lawyers.
I had to learn how to drive a car again, dude.
You have to go
after
to
my crash.
county council, and they're telling you something. And you're going, that's not what I was trained to do, and that's not what the policy says, and that's not what the law says.
Right.
Well, this is what we're going to do. I said, but the case law is this. The law is that. Policy is this. And I know policy, so I'm not. How could I be sitting across from you when I'm totally in line? But you're going to tell me that it's a different time. That doesn't work for me because don't confuse me with it. I know basic stuff.
We have to know it.
But you're going to tell me something outside of that line is true, but it's not true.
Well, they try to make public opinion policy.
Yes.
And that's where we get the problem. That's the problem.
And the people I talk to that are still on, I say, as long as you're in policy and you're within the law, there's nothing they can do to you. And all of a sudden, people are getting in trouble. And they didn't. They are in the law, and they are in policy. Mm-hmm. I said, so how do you win when you're doing everything, but it's political capital is so strong or so worth so much that they're going to do this and that to you. And I've said this to you, and you've said it to me. You know, the department's always going to defend the department. It's just going to do. It's just going to do. And I get that. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. Mm-hmm. It's a bigger.
We are truly just a number.
Yeah, it's a bigger story. But you got these kids coming in that think that this is the way it's supposed to be, when it's not true. They have more tools they could use, but they don't use them because they've been told not to use them.
They're afraid to use them.
Yeah, and I'm watching on TV and I go, I see these kids kids, but the young, I see them hesitating out there. I'm going, you're going to get killed. Yeah, you're going to get hurt. Your partner's going to get hurt. Why are you talking so much? Mm-hmm. Because I hear stuff where it's like, you're going to come in my space. I don't have to wait for you to hit me. Yeah. I don't get paid to get hit in the face or spit on. You know?
It's funny.
Or somebody come and get in my where I think they're close enough to hit me and I got to hit back. No, you don't let them close. They're letting people like right in their face scream at them and going, what's to stop him from just stabbing you in the throat?
Exactly. How much are you supposed to take?
What in the academy and everywhere you've been trained, even after service, this is my space. Yeah. You control it. I have a gun on my hip. If he puts me down, now he's got a gun.
He's got a gun. Yeah.
So you're always doing gun retention.
Probably had more.
How do you do gun retention with somebody this close to you?
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect segue. You asked me when I walked in here today, what the hell do you have pepper spray for? I'm going to tell you a story, and it's going to make you laugh. Uh-huh. I'm working the Norwalk Net team, but that's an SAO team, special problems team, in patrol, Norwalk Patrol. And my sergeant was Sergeant Ken Perry, retired homicide detective. Ken. And at that time, it was Region 3. Mm-hmm. So we got pulled aside one day by our sergeant, and they went to a staff meeting and got reamed the riot act by a commander and said that Region 3's force is through the roof, and you guys got to stop putting hands on people. That shouldn't be your first thing. You got to go through your force chart.
Barometer of force.
Yeah, your force chart. I'm like, well, I'm listening to him. And he goes, so... You know, the commander, I'm not going to name names, but the commander, he wants you guys to use OC spray first. And I said, when's the last time our commander was in a fight? And how does he know we're going to be able to get to our OC spray before I put my finger in somebody's eye? And he goes, Danny, he gets mad at me, right? I said, Ken, I'm just telling you the truth. What you've done ostensibly, you're going to tell me to put this in my hand so I don't get written up. Because that, again, here we go. Public opinion is guiding policy, which is dangerous for people's lives. And that's at the end of the day. My job was to get you home to your wife and your kids, and yours was the same for me, right? So that was our common ground. Yeah, he's going home. If I have to, do something horrible, then I'm going to have to do it.
I always tell you, I'm not going to let your wife come slap me at your funeral.
No, I'm not going to have to explain why'd you let him die.
Your wife's going to whip. I said your wife's going to whip my ass if I don't protect you out here.
Yeah. So funny story. I am going somewhere. So we were talking about OC spray. I walk in with this can. You laugh at me, and I'm like, "This is funny. I just found this today." I'm giving all my stuff back, and I find this. So it's in an OC canister. So I told the sergeant at the time, "Hey, you do realize you've just put a roll of quarters in my hand." Mm-hmm. And he looked at me quizzically. I said, obviously, you haven't been in a fight in a while. Brass knuckles are a great thing, and a roll of quarters in your hand is another good thing. Mm-hmm. And he just do it, Danny. That night, I'm working with my partner, Rob Renteria. And this dude swings from Vadio neighborhood Norwalk. And he swings. And this is when I knew you already. You were working OSS and I was working the net team. We're always coming in. Hey, what do you need? And I can't remember the guy's name, the gangster that swung on my partner. And I just reached over Rob because Rob was shorter than me. And I, bam, knocked him out. Well, this is the can.
Let me see.
It bent it. I knocked him out cold.
Is this from his head or your hand?
Well, that's me holding it, and I hit him in the head. So those are my fingers pushing that in when I hit it.
It didn't go off?
No, didn't go off.
That's how.
I continued to use it till it was empty.
It's like it's like the thermos in the accountant.
Yeah, exactly. That's public policy or public opinion driving policy.
Yeah, that's well. Remember the brick, the 40, the big radios? Yeah.
Well, Gonzalez got beat with one.
Those radios were weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to be able to carry the big flashlight in the jails. Yeah, it's an illumination device. I get it, but that's all you got in the jails. You don't get to carry a gun. You don't have tasers. You don't have anything on your body. You have nothing. And they took the flashlights from the guys and they gave them those little pin lights. I go, now what are you going to do?
Well, the funniest thing is when you bring people in with you. What weapons do you have? Well, the only real weapon we have is OC spray, and a flashlight is at the last, in the last resort. You hit them because you're getting your butt kicked, and then you're walking somebody through the jail, maybe a tour or something, and a fight jumps off and you spray anybody, and then you look over them in the corner and they're coward. Why? You just sprayed the whole module.
Yeah.
Just because you sprayed him doesn't mean everybody else isn't affected.
Yeah. Everybody's out of the fight.
Right. So if you're in a fight and you have 11 weapons on you, now what?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a place where it's like they say, it's slippery slope, but they've gotten to this point where these kids I see them on TV all the time watching the news. I'm going just screaming at the screen. I go, arrest him. Hook him, hook him. And I might sound like we're like short, like real quick, just grab everybody. But if you have that idea of you're not going to get close to me, they usually don't, they didn't get close. Now I'm thinking, has it changed? Nobody got within, I'm not Superman, but nobody got within 5 feet of me because, if I'm talking to a regular Joe, no, it's fine. But if I'm on a call, they taught you what? Turn around, stand back, 1 foot back, all that stuff. And these guys are like, everyone's on top of them, and we've just been lucky that no one's been hurt.
Exactly. Well, there has been. I could go through a number of, but we don't need to go down that road. I'm not trying to disparage somebody, but you got a guy in Lakewood that's walking out a 916B, which is somebody was shoplifting, and instead of handcuffing him right away, he walked him out. And this guy was very in shape, very strong, and the guy got it over on him and curb stomped him. He's retired today and partially paralyzed.
We know the story with OSS when some guys were told we're taking this low key, we're doing this one low key, we're doing this low key. Not going to bring up names or anything, and it almost 3 deputies could have been killed that one day, maybe 4, and it was started with a lieutenant saying, "Well, we're going to be like, yeah, this is low key, guys. We're going to do this warrant soft. There's no such thing as a soft warrant, but because there was a connection, they were like, he's like debriefed the team that we're going to go in there." Soft.
What was it? 80% of our warrants were night service. You have to get that signed.
I was higher than that.
I'm being conservative.
Yeah.
80, 90%. It was you. That's not just something you do.
Because you
have to get it signed.
It's
high
because
risk.
it's safer to do it at night, whether it's sleep. When you write your warrant, you have to put in your reasoning, and the judge always looks at it like, yeah, of course, because when I went to a different unit, we're doing them at 2:00 in the afternoon, 3:00 in the afternoon. They're sitting on the porch, and I'm going.
I know you're talking about.
And I'm thinking, why are we serving a warrant? Oh, because you're looking for dope. Well, dope. Usually, what else do you got? Guns. Most dope dealers have guns, but you're gonna drive up with 5 cars in the middle of the day where everybody's on the bikes are going around on lookout.
There's
and
kids
they know you're on the block before you even get to the house.
Yeah.
But because the tunnel vision on, we're going to get the dope. It's like, why wouldn't you do it 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning like we did at OSS? I never did a day warrant at OSS. Never, in all the 10 years, I never did a day warrant.
The only time I ever did day warrants is if I was actually serving warrant for paper at somebody's business or something like that.
Of course.
But for a person? No, never.
No, never, ever.
Safe.
It's always night service. And it's not hard to articulate why it's night service.
Not at all. Not in that game. We're not talking. This is regular cases. We're dealing with, the dirty 33, dude. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Gang allegations.
But you're thinking, when would you do day or every example of a day service has been tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Waco. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
You know, they got distance, they got high ground, they got, oh my God.
You already said that they were what's the word they used? That they were maniacal because of their cultish behavior, and yet you did it during the day.
So whoever signed and said, we're going to do this day service, and no one ever said, no, this is night, like the IO should have been, no, this is night service 100,000%. You're saying sophisticated weapons, you're saying barricaded or, you know, fortified location, but you're going to do morning sunrise or was it sunrise, right? Like an early morning?
Yeah.
But you had 200 yards between them coming up.
Oh, they're gonna.
And they told them they were coming, I think, the day before or something like that.
Yeah,
anyways, I feel I don't like the Monday morning quarterback because there's a lot of good guys that got killed that day. But there is the day service attached to that, you know. And then, like I told you, I was doing some jobs. And I'm like, why are we standing here? We're driving up. They're all out of, you know, dope users don't go to work. So they're sitting
to what you started with. It goes back to where you started, which was leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You got guys like Liam and Dwayne Harris.
That
Sal Munoz.
If I ever gave him a day service to like Dwayne or Sal, he'd have been, what are you doing?
We had to get that cleared through SCB.
Yeah,
and we're going to do it. So why are we doing?
Well, you could do TT team, or you could do a lot of stuff. But we always did our own. That unless it was something like to give them that one house. If it hit if the rib said they had to do it, give it to SCB.
And a point of reference to people, if anybody, whoever watches this. So the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is the largest sheriff's department in the country.
Mm-hmm.
We are the largest jail system in the world. Now, currently today, the administration there, I won't speak on it, but they're not worth their salt. But while we were at OSS and in and around the time Jerry Ortiz was murdered, to compare to another agency that's much larger than ours, which was NYPD. They're about 40,000 strong. We're about 10 to 12 on depending. Not all of it is sworn, so maybe 10 sworn at the time. And I remember specifically going to an award ceremony for OSS just for our bureau, and there was 2 units at that time, GET, which is the gang enforcement team, and OSS, which were the detectives, Operation Safe Streets, and they all fell under the umbrella of OSS.
Yeah.
Right? So all of us were at this particular luncheon, and we were told that they have done the national crime stats, and part of that is warrants served, and OSS only had about 90 guys, 80 to 90 guys, depending on who's off, not working because they're hurt or whatever, 80 to 90 detectives at that time. We did like 1,600 warrants, and we served 1,600 warrants in a year. And we beat NYPD with 90 guys.
Yep.
And we know from what we've done undercover, some of those teams start at 100.
Yeah.
Because they have 40,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 40,000 cops. And I'm not disparaging their department at all. That's not the point. The point is the bear went everywhere.
Yeah.
We got called to different states. You and I on the undercover team, we got called all over the place.
Well, you remember OSS and GET. It was a competition.
Oh yeah.
And we were,
and it wasn't.
We were trying to outdo everybody.
But competition in the sense that we're not talking
each other.
Yeah, this wasn't like a competition of, what do they say, quotas for tickets?
No.
No. We're talking a violent crime with an arrestable person, and you know.
It was 100%. You look at the board. Remember the board? And you look at everybody that was, you wanted to get on the board before.
Early.
You wanted to get the board. You wouldn't get on the board. So you would serve because you needed, because you don't do just one. We would do 10, 20 locations at one time. So we would do association warrants. That's what OSS was built for. So if I was going to do a warrant, I needed 20 teams. So that means 20 other OSS teams had to show up. So we had to get on the board first. And it was a competition to get on that board before you were saying, oh, I want to do my warrant now. Or I had to wait 2 weeks, a month?
Right.
No way, because
we don't have enough teams. You lose your guy. Yeah. You might lose your 100%. Guy.
You know where he's at. You want to go now.
And remember that, I'm just going to clarify so people know that what you're talking about getting on the board is for 1 calendar week.
Yeah.
That was just 1 week. Yeah. That wasn't. I
remember calling Ernie Arce, go, come on, dude, hook me up, bro.
Yeah.
The captain.
Yeah.
Ernie, the captain.
Yeah.
But he would say, dude, it's full. You got to try to squeeze this. And then he would call me and say, hey, dude, somebody just canceled their warrants. Throw me on that one.
Throw me on there, yeah.
And the guys on the team were trying to get on the board. I mean, you had 4 to 6 guys on the team, sometimes more. You would try to beat them to the warrant. Sometimes you would be like, I know where the gun is. I want to get to the AK first. And somebody else said, I know what's over here. Remember, we would compete like all against each other all the time. And I said that it wasn't, and it was never about the blue, because we wouldn't chase blues, the rest booking slip. Because I remember when I would do a warrant, I'd give the blues to the guys who did my warrants because they would get the stat.
Yeah.
And then
they serve that location. They get the blue for the
A
location.
certain knucklehead came in and took over the unit. And he's like, well, I want to see your stats. And now we're all trying to keep our blues to show, sir, we're doing work. But it was never about, I got to show my work because we were working. Look at what you said about how many warrants that was. Jesus. I remember waking up 3 o'clock in the morning, 3-4 times a week, and then going to court at 8. So you'd be done with the warrant, turn in your stuff, turn in your evidence, and you wouldn't go. We didn't go home. We went straight to court.
And we had to do our regular shift.
We had to file. We had to do our
shift,
stuff, and then we'd do our regular shift, go out to door knocks,
So-
and do it again the next day.
Yeah, and so for the people in the back, that
Who wants to do that? I mean, who volunteered for that?
We did, but we got accepted, right? But anyway, we were picked for the team. We had to apply. We had to go through written, oral, all that stuff.
But then it was who vouched for you.
Yeah, and
Dwayne
was for me, and you guys.
They did the round table, and
they
would go, okay, all these guys want to come in, and nope.
That was all Dwayne for me.
Before
guys
Bowman, it
and
was
Dwayne.
word of mouth.
But
real quick, but there was guys that would get in because they knew someone, and then they had to do the job, and they would roll themselves up in a month.
Yeah,
you'd hear guys just like,
oh my God, I can't do this.
They quit. They would just quit.
I remember. So when I was working at Norwalk, I worked real brief. I'll go real quick. I worked when I was on training. I was in La Mirada the first 2 months. Was with the TO, and it wasn't great training. It's not a great. I mean, there was times when La Mirada blew up and the whole world fell apart, but that was far and few between, and I didn't have that. Because
something from Norwalk leaked over there.
Yeah. So then I came over to Norwalk on earlies. They were going to fix me, right? Norwalk, the training team, like, oh, let's see if this guy can, see what happens.
Fix you.
That's what they're doing. You're laughing
you?
your ass off because you know exactly what they're thinking. Like, we're going to throw light over there and watch what happens.
You remember I snatched you from Homicide.
Oh God, dude.
I snatched
you. Did.
I snatched
That's
you.
That's a different story. We'll go there in a minute. But so then I go over to
Norwalk. You Homicide guys, I took this guy. He's coming with me.
Rich is going to slap you now.
Hey,
I'll tell that story.
Rich, I'll buy Richard beer. He'll be happy. Rich is
cool. I go over to Norwalk on earlies, and I'm working with Van Dam. Fantastic deputy.
Joe's the best.
So he's working
a legend, man.
45 Adam on earlies in Vadio Norwalk's area. He was 45 Adam, so that was South or Norwalk. So I'm working with Norwalk. I mean with Joe. And he tells me, pulls me. He knows what happened in La Mirada, and he's getting a ding dong. Really, me. He's getting a ding dong. In his mind, I've got a ding dong.
Yeah.
So he took me over. He took me out to dinner first night. Who think that's not right? Who does that?
Nobody.
And he goes, look, you're no good to me if you're hungry, your mind isn't right, and you don't know what you're doing. So we're not going 10-8 until I have a good conversation with you. And I'm going to tell you what I expect. And I want to hear some answers from you because I got some questions.
Yeah.
So I gave him the answers to the questions that some were personal, that nobody knew. And I'm not going to break that here, but we did our thing. And then that night we went out and we got in a foot pursuit. I caught the dude and force. Now I'm writing force. First night. Fast forward.
Really? You?
Fast forward to... Like I said, I always say to Robert.
No, say it isn't so.
Robert 3. I said, look,
I can't believe
you
that.
do realize that all the people that they're telling they shouldn't use force, there's one person that got in a fight, the dude broke his ankle. There's another guy that got in a fight, he broke his nose. I'm talking the deputies. This was the deputies' injuries. So when somebody swings at you, Robert, the point is, nothing happened to you. You fought back. You're not a punk, nothing like that. But next time, that guy, this wasn't for you. Yes, I'm going to try to make sure you make it home, and I hope you do the same for me. But this is for that guy that thinks he gets to walk out and slap or punch a deputy. He's going to go to the hospital first, and then he's going to be booked.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for that, dude. That's assault. Yep. So that's where my mind frame was. And I learned that from Kazi. And luckily for me, I don't know of a time where I lost. But that's not everybody. We all do. But going back, so Joe, when that happened, Joe was my TO. I went for 2 months, whatever it was, early morning, 3 months, whatever it was. I stayed in Norwalk the rest of the time. Usually you have 3 TOs. They left me in Norwalk because we were killing it with stats. Joe, that was Joe. I'm not telling it was me. That was Joe teaching me. And he taught me everything about he handled calls, but he did observation arrests. That's all he did. Yeah. So when we were done with that, when I was getting to the end where I'd be signed off, Joe was going on vacation at the end of the year. And when they said to him, we don't have any coverage, Joe, we're going to have to put Dan with him as his trainee. And he goes, bullshit. put him in a king car.
Oh shit.
And they're like, you sure? And he goes, yeah, just have somebody, 45 King 2 can roll with him. And so I did that. Joe came back from his vacation, and I was signed off. And what happened after that? Nobody stayed in the crime cars because Norwalk was a training city.
Yeah.
It was a great city to train at.
Yeah, the one
everybody went out. Yeah, everybody went to La Mirada or whatever, Whittier County, and they became a traffic car or whatever. I stayed as 45 King 2 as a crime car, and that's why you met me. You saw my name on reports with Joe, and then by myself, I was screwing up. I was new, and you were putting me in line.
Yeah,
you were fixing me along the way. Hey, when you get this gangster,
when people
do this.
are hungry, you want to feed them.
Yeah,
because you help me, I help you. You're gonna give me. I'm gonna send you out to. I sent a lot of guys out, and not everybody. Not all of them came back with what I gave them.
Yeah.
But the ones that did, I fed them some more. I go, because, OSS, you don't have time to do all that. You go, you got Get. That's why Get was important, because Get would go out and be your eyes and ears when you weren't there. And I would go, like Paul Marino and Al Carrillo. I go, hey, dude, I got this strap. I know where it's at. I'm already doing a warrant. I'm doing my return. Go, if you can find it, this is where it should be. This is what's going on. Be careful. And it would come back with it.
But you would also say,
time.
you don't have carte blanche.
No.
You need to have your own probable cause.
No, they
all
had
that
to
kind
do
of stuff. You had to do your own thing.
They would,
but this dude's carrying.
Their paper was impeccable, man.
You can't just
I wouldn't give it to some poobah that's going to end up messing up my case and it's going to get thrown out. No, I knew they could write because they were working for Sal at the time. Sal had them in line. Sal Munoz had them in line. And these guys were just hungry, man. They would get anything. And then you guys came around, the Norwalk guys, same thing. And you could see, like in the morning you get all the cases, you'd say, okay, I see the same names on these reports for the certain types of cases every morning. Because we, OSS, you go through all the cases. And you got the whole weekend. You got, 5 days worth. And you look through and you take the gang cases. And you have DB 99 it to you, and now I got a case. And you hand them out to the guys. And it goes,
and that's
in custody, out of custody, in custody.
That's
the
what
way
you
you're
were
supposed
pretty
to do
much doing. That's what you were doing.
And I would see the same names over and over and over for the guns, for the gangster stuff, the dope, and all the good stuff. And I would see these certain names where I'd read the paper and go, man, this paper is like should be in crayons, man. It's awful.
I remember hearing that.
Oh, dude, I got one where it's like,
I don't know how many times
you said you got a gun and 16 rounds, and I opened the evidence. There's 4 rounds in there. I go, well, how?
What'd you do? Go office pop, or what'd you do? What did you do with the other rounds?
Do with this? I got to file this. And you call them and I go, I don't know.
Oh.
So when you went to OSS, I'm sure you saw the same thing.
Oh yeah.
No, they got to go fix. They got to. They find it, or they realize something happened and they fix it. But when you're going to take a case to court, it has to be perfect.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be the expert.
I'm the one being up there getting yelled at.
Not only are you testifying as the lead detective, but depending on the case, you're also the gang expert, and you may be the expert in a murder.
Yeah.
You have to be tight. You have to be.
It's like,
This isn't haphazard, man. This isn't McDonald's. Oh, I showed up today.
A couple missing rounds in the evidence book. Yeah, it's like, no, dude, it doesn't work. No, you're fixing this. You're supping it out. I'm not. That's not me. Or I would tell him, you're going to have to kick him. You're going to have to be one the guy because this isn't it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
I was one of those names you read. And was my stuff always right? Oh, hell no. Dan writes with his feet. So, I in third person, I write with my feet. But there was time. It was only to get better.
Dude, you were getting guns like every day.
But you were trying to make it, hey, dude, you're doing a great job. Just remember X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And I listened. And then all of that, you had already gone to Get. You'd already worked Get. You'd already worked OSS, which on our department is a coveted position. Mm-hmm. You got 10,000 sworn, and you got 90 OSS detectives. That's a very select few people that make it to that unit.
Yeah, and there's a great bunch of guys, too.
Great bunch of guys. They would bleed for you, no doubt. And I'm not talking dirty shit. I'm talking, let's get this through.
Well, you got to tell
the
people
right way.
The way it worked was you went to Get, you went to OSS, and you went to Homicide.
Right.
Because Homicide took OSS because the only difference between Homicide and OSS was the guy died.
Exactly.
That's what people would say. And there was a lot more difference, but the guy died, Homicide.
Everybody says you learn the most the 6 months after your training than the 6 months you're in the training, in the car with the seat with the guy that's training you. And my person was you. And you've taught me things, not even just about the job, but about life itself, just like you've given over to your sons. So I thank you.
Oh, thanks.
But that carried me all the way through.
Mhm.
And the point of, I start with this, the point of that is the greatest compliment that you can get is when the person that trained you, helped to train you, asked you, hey, come over here and take this test because I want you here with me.
Yep. Yeah.
And you said it earlier. This is a funny story. So I was done with OSS. I tired of chasing 18-year-olds.
And then they changed the brass.
Yeah, a lot of things
all
changed.
The good dudes went.
They went on. Yeah,
you know Miller. I mean, no, sorry, I'm not gonna try.
Yeah,
they got there and they just destroyed the unit. The unit was just flipped over.
Yeah,
and so and everybody jumped. Everybody left.
Yeah, all the good people jumped. And so after I think our probably one of the finest moments was the way OSS handled the murder of Jerry Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody came together. Everybody. I was on the task force, but everybody, that entire bureau was in Hawaiian Gardens every night.
Yeah.
So, and after that, when that was over, it kind of, everything changed. But I thought to myself, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go next? As your detective, as you well know, you don't carry your stripes if you're not a detective.
No.
Unless you're bonus 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you came to me and said, hey, dude, you should test. And a lot of things were going on. So I tested for homicide, which was like you just said, it's a natural progression from OSS. And then I tested for the tech ops, which is the team that you were on, which is an undercover special investigation unit. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell. And you taught me. And as evidenced by, you're a master at what you do. And for self-taught. And this isn't some career you came out of to come into this.
Yeah.
Or to be a deputy and then this. No, this is all self-taught. So I tested for both. And I thought, Lord, whatever happens, I'll follow your will, right? So there's 200-300 people that test for homicide, right?
Yeah.
And
I think a little bit more on that list because everybody was trying to get
right.
out. Everybody's trying to leave OSS.
Yeah. So I roughly whatever it was, and then once you take the test, you go through the whole process and they formulate a list 1 through whatever, 1 through 100, let's say. And then I took a test for you guys because just so happened they were testing at the same time. Mm-hmm. So and there was only 8 people that took that test. Mm-hmm. And why do I know that? Because I was in the room with all 8.
It's bonus.
I was
2.
one of the 8. It's bonus 2. So was homicide. The difference is they wear a suit. We're undercover. We don't have to adhere to any guideline. The guns become different. Everything's different. So I take the test, both tests, and I thought, Lord, whatever you decide. And who called? But your team, your sergeant.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder how that worked out. The same sergeant, Dwayne Harris, is the one who do you guys want? We want Leicht. Yeah. Thank you. He went to bat for me. Yeah. So I go ahead and I take the tech ops position. I'm there, and this is funny. I'm there for about 3 months. And I thought, hey, I took a bonus 2 position. So I should be taken off of so let me back up for a second. So the list comes out. So that's going to tell me probably where I'm going to go. Well, I end up number 3 on both. Mm-hmm. Well, if you do the math, homicide, I'm like, what the hell?
You're going.
I must have studied. I must have been counting my toes or something.
Because our homicide is 1 sergeant, 1 deputy, 1 bonus 2, and 1 sergeant on every team.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then bonus 2 with what we do. And I was like, wow, that didn't help. Now it's basically the luck of the draw. Mm-hmm. Tech crew, both teams have people that go and die there.
Yeah.
And there's less people. There are only 6 guys and a sergeant and a secretary on the tech crew.
Yeah.
So that number's difficult, right?
Well, that was 4 when you came to the team.
Yeah, when I came. So
for the whole county, 4 guys.
For 10,000 guys.
Yeah.
So there's only less than 200 bonus 2 in the entire county.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to your team, I'm training and I'm learning, and boy, my head was spinning. And I'm standing in my little desk area, my phone's ringing. And usually our secretary handled the phone calls. Mm-hmm. You know this. I'm telling everybody in the back. She answered the phone. Tech crew, Lisa, can I help you?
Lisa?
Lisa, yeah, Vasquez.
Lisa?
So Lisa Vasquez. So I I'm standing there, and you're right next to you're in the cubicle next to me, and I'm looking at my phone like it's some alien. It's like, what's this thing making noise? And I looked at Lisa, and I'm like, she's like, answer it. And then you look at me, and goes, hey, stupid, answer your phone. I'm like, well, why is my phone ringing? She usually answers the phone. He goes, because you have an extension, dude. Well, nobody knows I work here. And they said, you go, it's in the county, the county index. Of course they know. So I answer the phone, and it's Homicide. And it's
Well, you're not even in Outlook. You're not even supposed to be in the phone book because of the unit we're in.
They screwed up. Well, Homicide, they knew.
Well,
but how he
we're
got
not
my
even
number?
we weren't on the list for like being in the department.
No, it's like Sean Shaw from Homicide, Ops Sergeant. And he's like, Dan. I'm like, who's this? Now I'm nervous because I'm like, wait, first of all, my phone hasn't rang since I've been here. And second of all, I didn't realize
you must have done something wrong.
Yeah, I did something wrong. Hey, Dan, I'm like, who's this? He goes, it's Sean from Homicide. I'm like, oh, sorry, Sean. I'm just kind of bewildered right now. I didn't realize my phone worked. And he goes, are you ready? Ready for what? To come to Homicide. And I'm like, why would I come to Homicide? He goes, you did test, fool. You're number 3. I'm like, no. What I mean is you called me at Tech Ops. You know I'm working here now. I thought they took my name off the list. And he's like, no, I don't care what the list says. Are you coming? I'm like, actually, no, dude. I think I'm good. I think I'm going to stay here. And
that shocked everybody.
And then about
no one turns down Homicide.
Yeah, but nobody works with Adam Cordova. They don't get to laugh.
I told you.
And their socks don't fall off.
I told you, dude. I don't have any problem. Go. I told you.
Yeah, you
go.
did.
I said, do not stay here if you want to be, because I know you've always wanted to go to Homicide. I grabbed you and gave you an opportunity to come here. I mean, I pushed you towards this. I didn't give it to you. You had to process. You had to test. And but I'm not going to be hurt if you leave it, and you go, dude, because that's a career thing. Homicide. I understand. It's Homicide. It's
finest in the country,
dude. Who says no to LA County Sheriff's Homicide?
Dummy.
Dan and Leicht.
Actually, I'm not dumb.
No, but I remember being with you in car, and guys from Homicide would tell you, dude, you made the best decision.
Well, the funny story. At the end of the story, it goes, and Samantha, my daughter, she just watched this show, and she saw Rich Tomlin. And I said, oh, you get to see that case. And she goes, yeah, good dude.
Rich is
one of the top 25 in Homicide during our 30-year pedigree, Adam and my 30-year pedigree. Probably one of the top 25,
Absolutely.
Along with Mark.
That's top 10.
Yeah, top 10. So I said, interesting story.
He's going to get mad because you just said top 5.
You're number 1, Rich. I'm sorry. But anyway.
This doesn't go to Georgia.
So
he's in Georgia.
Yeah. So about 2 years later, 2 hours later from the call from Sean Shaw, and I turned it down. He goes, well, call me back and give me an answer. I didn't turn him down on the phone. I called him later. But, and that's when you talked to me. But phone rings 2 hours later, and as I said, Lisa answered the phone because it went to the main line. And she goes, Dan, actually, somebody rang the doorbell, and she said, come on in. She buzzed the door, and he goes, nah, send Dan outside. And she goes, Dan, somebody's outside to talk to you. What? Go outside. Somebody's out front to talk to you. I thought
Lisa's
it was
like, why do you keep bugging me? Just go.
Just go. Like a pie in the face. Right?
I love Lisa. She just looks at us like we're a bunch of little kids.
Go, fool. So I go outside, and it's Rich. And there's Rich. Now, I didn't know this.
You should have ran. You should have just turned around and just ran to the parking lot.
What I didn't know was that Rich had already went to admin, to his lieutenant, and said he had just, a trainee had left like a month ago, and he goes, well, we need your train, we need your train again. And he goes, I'm going to train when Dan comes. Because he saw the list. Mm-hmm. So I come outside, and he was mad. He was like,
I remember.
What the fuck are you doing?
You
like, what are you talking about? He goes,
nobody turns down Homicide.
Well, I thought you were coming. I said, well, I was until this place. I said, you weren't here when I said it. I did say it out loud. I don't know who heard it. And when I ended up number 3 on both lists, and he looks at me and he goes, what do you mean 3? I said, well, I'm 3 on Homicide. And because you told them, now I didn't know this, but you told them you would train me, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And then I came here and I said, Lord, whoever picks me first, I guess. Mm-hmm. And they picked me first. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, like Sean asked me, and I decided to stay here.
I told you, go home and really think about it, dude.
And I told him all the reasons why, which we discussed. And at the end of that, he goes, you lucky motherfucker. Because he'd already been there forever,
Yeah, dude.
He'd already been to Homicide.
When people, because, we don't, it's like Fight Club. We don't talk, no one knows what we, most people didn't even know our unit existed. And but the homicide guys is 98% of our jobs are homicide.
They knew.
That's why we got so close to the homicide guys that we didn't know. But those guys were, they're wearing a suit in 110 degrees, standing over a dead body, and we roll up in freaking whatever we want, and whatever facial, whatever hair you want. I mean, you had hair down there. I remember you had long hair for a while.
I looked like Captain Jack.
And we walk up and they look at. I remember
Captain Jack, the rum.
Q looks at me and goes, "You ass."
Captain Morgan.
You remember Q? He goes, "You ass." And I said, "What, dude?" He goes, "You can't take off the jacket, bro." He goes, "We're not allowed to take off the jacket."
Speaking of that,
did you know that?
No, they couldn't. Under McDonald,
yeah,
they had to have their jackets
that's what
at
he said.
100-degree weather. You got to wear the jacket on.
jackets.
Are you kidding me right now? They put Class B guys in. They put Class A deputies in the street. They have to wear wool, but when it's 85 and above, they put their Bs on. But you have to wear a wool suit? Mm-hmm. Okay, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and some of the guys are little, husky.
Portly?
So I was like, yeah, you're going to die out here, bro. Are you hydrating?
You're going to die.
Are you hydrating?
Yeah, no wonder Ralph's so thin.
No, they have
it out of
they
them.
have they're great investigators.
Great
investigators.
Best.
And then they're just, they're freaking, like they say, like their icon or their logo is a bulldog. They're freaking awesome, man. But I looked at them and said, me and Dan are traveling the country, teaching, learning, and we're doing something that's fun, What we got to do is probably the greatest ride ever.
Remember COVID? We're in Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, getting ready to teach some FBI.
On the water?
On the water. FBI was there, all these people getting ready to teach. We're going to do the Suge Knight case and a few other cases. And next thing you know, COVID happens. They shut down the whole state, and everybody not living in Maryland has to go home. We got stuck there for 2 days with every restaurant closed.
Yeah, but I remember we went to D.C., and we were the only ones in D.C.
Yeah.
We were the only ones. So every monument that you see in D.C. where there's 5 million people, we were like standing in front of them.
How'd you get it with nobody standing in front of
this? Everybody was just locked down.
Yeah, we had to take the mask off of the Lincoln statue so we could take a picture of it.
But it makes me think, because I remember I was thinking, I'm getting Dan Leicht in here today. I said, how do you go from touching so many cases and then you come and sit here? I mean, you got Bieber, you got Suge Knight, you got Buck Wild or Ed Buck. Well, there's so many famous. I mean, I know you pulled a video on Suge, and I know you did some stuff. We did a bunch of when we were doing a bunch of bug stuff.
Yeah.
But there's so many people we touched, and no one would ever even know. And I remember I was talking to some people the other day, and I was telling them, everything you saw on TV, our 4-6 guys touched. No matter what it was, if it was newsworthy or big, they would call. They said, walking away from that, I go, how do I use that? All that information. I said, oh, shoot, let's put something together here.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, dude, you mentioned it. Yeah, we did. We were the ones that helped Mark Lilienfeld break open. He wasn't handling that case, but it was such a specific and large case that they actually hired the 2 guys in charge of the Suge Knight case actually hired 2 of the other detectives from Homicide to do just the evidence gathering. Mm-hmm. And that's who reached out to us. But the one we can even speak about him, but we're not going to go into how we did some stuff. But one of them is Ed Buck. and some people may or may not know that, but he was a political pawn. He was used to bundle money for the Democratic Party, like it or not, whatever party you're for, it doesn't matter. But he also had a very big problem with black gentlemen dying in his apartment, and they could not catch him. They knew they knew it happened, but they didn't have anything. And there was some stuff occurred with, again, Q Rodriguez, thinking outside of the box, and he called you because he was a former partner of yours at OSS. Of course, I know Q too, but you were a partner of his, so he trusted you.
I get, actually.
Yeah. So we did. He asked for some stuff.
Carson Get.
Yeah. So, and I was there when Jerry was murdered, but he asked for some specific stuff, and even we scratched our head. We need cameras set up everywhere. Well, they already have a camera system.
Well, they knew he was doing it, but they couldn't catch him because he's already adjudicated. His victims he would push him out, and they would die in the street, and just horrible. Just push him out, and then they'd find him in the street, but they didn't know it occurred in his apartment.
Yeah. So
they had him, but they just didn't have the connection.
No. So we that's when we get the 911. What's your emergency? So what do you need? We get called from.
But that was the cool part, just problem solving, troubleshooting, and just figuring out something new. Because Homicide would come up with all kinds of cars, buildings, whatever it was.
Yeah,
we figure it out.
We get the call from the O Dark 30. Hey, are you alone? Yeah. Did you hear about Kobe? Yeah. We need some help. All right. So, but back to Buck, we had to do something that we could have done it. We could have done what they asked, but it would have tipped off what they actually wanted. And this isn't just us making crap up. This is with warrants and everything else. This is legit. So we went there, and I remember there was already a system set in place, and you and I were gaming in a friendly's home. And we're like, how do you want to do this?
The system didn't work, remember?
It wouldn't work.
No,
we couldn't download from it. It worked, but we couldn't download from it. The USB was burned up. So we one of the things we did is that particular DVR, we flipped it over, and I screenshotted the QR code and found out that I downloaded an app, and we took over the system. And now Homicide could act with, they already had a warrant, and the guy that ran it was a friendly, and yeah, go ahead. We need to catch these people. So they got to watch it live. And what happens? Dumb luck.
Same day.
That night.
No, it was 2 days later because remember when the cameras had to be moved and you were standing on the balcony?
I stood up there, my little, Verizon wireless, and move the, I'm kidding. It wasn't right. But, you have to act like when in Rome, act like a Roman. So I was in Rome and I moved the Roman's candle, the camera.
Yeah, but it was perfect.
Put it right on
that night, that last victim
crawled out of that house and saved himself by crawling to 7-Eleven, and LA County Fire saved him. Yes.
And all that, and he
all of caught on tape.
And he was doing it all the time. You know how many people he probably, I don't know, but it seems like he was so comfortable the way he was pushing them out.
Yeah, they knew
it had to be something he was doing all the time.
There's the number they knew. I can't remember the number. Q knew the number, but there was probably more. But they had a specific number which he's serving time for.
Well, he got what he needed to get for that, and the thinking out the box thing, and we did that all the time. But it was fun.
Well, I remember coming to work one day, and I was relatively new, but our sergeant said, "Any of you guys have a problem flying to Boston?" Right after the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
And we're like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, they need our help." They called it. Somebody asked the FBI for specific information. They thought they had a team to do it, and the FBI person said, "Call LA County Sheriff's Department." We had tickets to go, but we didn't go because the brother got killed, and they caught the other one.
They caught him the same now, or they found him or whatever. But then I remember we're doing sweeps in certain political parties, like doing bug sweeps, the task. And these people all ended up in court later or trouble later. Yeah. It's like, why are we doing a sweep here? Oh, now I know why. And I know why. And it was just funny because people would try to hide stuff from us. And then we go back and forth and say, well, you guys think we're going to come out there and help you out, but you can't do it if it's like a election going on. Like I think you told somebody, we can't do one party and then not the other party.
I specifically said, they said, we want to help this guy. And I said, well, if you're not going to put that to all of them, you're going to be putting your hands on the scale of justice. So you have to put that out there.
I guess that's going to bring me to my point. I wanted to touch on is like, there's stuff when we would get called that I remember thinking we would battle. Like, we can't do that. You guys want us to do this. And I remember fighting a lot of brass. You were always next to me, dude. I mean, there's so many times that you and I had to fight this battle because you had people that because I have a bar or a stars or whatever, you got to listen to what I say and you're just going to do it.
So. Yeah. Do it because I said so.
Or this is somebody else has always done this. So why are you giving me crap? Well, because it's against the law and I'm not going to prison for you.
Yeah.
And the other guy wants, that's on him. Mm-hmm. I used to like the younger kids, I used to tell them, it's like, if you feel it's wrong, don't just willy-nilly just run in and do stuff people tell you to do. Because Dan and I fought that battle to the top, all the way to the sheriff. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to mention which sheriffs and which undersheriffs, but we stood our ground, and because of that, we didn't get in trouble. We never did anything 1030.
Exactly. Because
we knew the law, and they would push that. I feel so bad for the kids now because they probably would do it because they don't know that they could stand their ground and say, I'm not doing stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. We got ordered to do things. ordered. I'm not doing it. You can do what you want, but and here's your letter from county council saying that you will not
Exonerated.
be exonerated
You
if
haven't
anything
even
goes
been
wrong.
charged. How am I exonerated?
And I go, yeah, you can put that somewhere else.
That's like a pardon prior to the crime, right?
You could put that with a shut no shine because I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then you tell them the law is this, you show it to them, and they're still like, whoa, because they're so high on their power or their rank. And then we always won because, again, we knew the law. We taught this stuff.
Truth is always on your side.
Yeah. But you remember that stuff, and the guys on the team are, oh, what are we going to do? I said, we're not doing it, dude. Yeah. I said, I know what we're doing. And we did. We worked it out.
Yes, we did. One of the greatest things we ever did. And one of the greatest things you do is like, here you go, knock yourself out. And then they lose their mind.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the law. And that's what I'm talking about. Today, it's different. We used to have people that led us that, no, you're not doing that. Before it ever made it, remember?
No,
when
it never got to us. No.
What was that lieutenant? That was an Army, what's his name? Started with an R. Heavyset lieutenant. I can't remember his name. At Tech. And he would say, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's illegal. We're not doing that. And he was great. He was a Army commander. He was a Army Reserve
He knew
commander.
the law, dude.
Yeah, he knew the law. He was fantastic.
That's what you want. But if we got a lot of those wishy-washy people later in our careers, and it's like, it's not that hard. Yeah. Dan and I would travel this whole country teaching this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had auditoriums full of feds, Secret Service, SEALs, no matter what. Yeah. And we tell everybody everything. We tell them the truth. This is how we plant stuff. This is how we infiltrate. This is how we do this is how we do our stuff. I mean, how many trainings we've been to where we end up being the trainers?
Yeah.
And it's not rude. It's like
crazy.
They look at us every time and say, well, you guys do this stuff. How would you do it in LA? And then we show them and they're, come here, because, and I'd always preface it with, we just have more volume than you guys. Cause you guys, get 1 or 2 murders a year.
And a bigger budget. And a bigger budget.
And a bigger budget. I said, our training and our volume is, we do it all the time. So we have to think of all these different things. Mm-hmm. So we're not smart. We just have more work than you guys. If you did our volume, you'd be just as good, but we have better equipment.
Yeah.
And remember, they're asking us for our equipment, our old equipment. Remember that? Like, geez, you're a big department. You're a major city. How do you not have this, and this? You're still using your microwave. Come on, dude.
Yeah. So after you left, when you retired, I was the senior guy in the team. Go figure. That's just stupid. Mm-hmm. But that happened. And then I got injured. An old injury came back and reared its ugly head, and I was light duty, so I became the A/. I was the sergeant or the acting sergeant. And we had to do a bunch of stuff. I have to come up with all this stuff that we're doing right now, only overtly. Yeah. This is out in the open so you can read certain things. So I get I get pulled into something that somebody else couldn't do. Uh-huh. And I said, I'll do it with you. I'll teach you how to do it, but I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to do it. You should do it with me so you can learn. You need to learn this. And they wouldn't, because that's on them. So I went and did it with Louis Aguilera from Homicide for his case, and that case happened to be a serial killer. Mm-hmm. The guy's already convicted. He's on death row. He admitted to this particular case that Louis was handling from years ago, and we should actually sit down with him and maybe in one of your episodes and talk about that case. But the point is I got thrust into a position where I'm not capable of what you just did. I am capable of it. I know that now, but I didn't think I was. But I had nobody to help. There was nobody there to help me. You'd already left. We had done all this stuff together. We'd take over hotel rooms for human trafficking and all, and recording and audio, door knock, everything. We had it all. Everything was covered. And these guys come with big grandiose ideas because they watch too much TV, and they want the busiest jail system in LA County in the world. They want it there. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so that's my comm room, and this is the interview room. And we turned, and lucky for us, there was a couple cells on that row that were already changed into offices, and you probably remember those. So that was a thank you for the tell. Mm-hmm. Remember, we always learn this. You started teaching me. When we dress a room with 2 queen beds for human trafficking, we make one look like it's been slept in.
Nobody will sit on it.
Nobody's going to sit. No man is going to sit on that bed.
Or a wet towel on a chair.
Right. So you have to stage it. So I'm like, all right, comm room, which is basically what we're in now.
Yeah, that's it. Put a wet towel on a chair. No one's going to sit.
No one's going to sit in it. So, and then the other room, and so we have an observation room and the interview room. So I made the interview room just like the one down the hall, used the same equipment, same desks, had it all brought in. We brought it in.
You direct them to a place they don't want
everything.
to be. They don't want to sit there, but you're telling them where to sit.
So what was the tell?
What?
You tip your hand when you can.
Yeah.
So it makes them feel at ease.
Yeah,
so in that hallway, every 25 feet, there was a floor 3D camera, like one of those in the round. So I asked the person that puts those in for the county, I need 2 of those. We put 2 in either corner. We tipped our hand. Yeah, we're recording you. Of course we're recording you.
Yeah.
But then there was 2 other cameras with the separate audio, which what you do here for the room.
Yeah.
And after about 2.5, 3 hours, I mean, it's a long interview, that dude cops to it and tells the entire story on camera.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Just so happens Louis Aguilera, and you know Louis very well.
Yeah.
He's great at interviewing people.
Louis,
and he
Louis
got
good.
him to break after, I mean, we're talking, this was a 1986 murder.
Yeah.
And but the point of that being is I walked into that guy like, oh shit, how am I going to do? This is a jail cell.
Well, you know, Perkins, remember when Perkins was big, everybody's doing Perkins. We went back east and no one even knows what a Perkins is.
No.
Like, dude.
And it wasn't
LA
California.
Live on, no, it's.
That was
it's
a U.S.
It's
That was a U.S. district case.
Yes. So you guys aren't using any of that? That's the biggest tool LA County uses.
Yeah.
I mean, the homicide guys, that's their thing. And they're like, no idea. And we talked to the lawyers because we had lawyers at some of our DAs, and you're saying, no, you know, you guys should be doing this. And then I remember looking at one of the DAs, and I think it was Virginia, and he looks at me and he says, yeah, we'll do that. And all the cops for Virginia, I mean, there was everybody in that room.
Blew up.
I looked at him and said, yeah. He goes, yeah, you can do that. They don't have any First Amendment. They don't have any
they have no
right to privacy.
There's
None of
no
that.
expectation of privacy in a custody environment.
And they're looking at him like, why didn't you, how do you guys not know this? I'm telling them like, well, you guys know this.
Case law.
So we realized when we're sitting there talking to us, we have so much more knowledge because of the fact we do so much more volume. And then those guys were looking at us like, I can do that in my jails. I can do that in a radio car. I can do that here and there. I go, yeah. Custody, non-custody, there's a bunch of stuff. You got a 2-party rule, 1-party rule, all that stuff. But these guys had no clue.
No idea.
No, we walked away, gave them the keys to the kingdom, man.
They do a great job. Some of the smaller departments across the country,
with what they have,
great job with what they have.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of knowledge from around the country. Everybody gets together and pulls some knowledge, and it's amazing what they can accomplish
with the little things. Yeah, we gave them more, and they're going to be great. And I remember working with the Palm Springs after they lost those 2 officers, and we ended up being best friends because they had no clue what they could do and what they couldn't do. And Palm Springs is right down the street from LA, comparatively, and they didn't know they could do any of it. Like, well, we're going to do this and this, and we're going to get this guy, your suspect, to do that and that. And they got 100% confessions.
Yeah. Well, at that point, when we made it there, and like you've told me when I got there to the team that you've retired from, and I'll be retiring from soon. It takes about 3 to 4 years to get completely your ground, and it's a lot to learn. A lot of technology,
but it changes.
But it changes.
Nothing is.
And that's
concrete.
part of the problem.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest things I think that you and I had later on, right before you retired, is when you have somebody. We started this with people in power that aren't doing the right thing for whatever their political reasons are. But when you do have somebody who is the elected sheriff, and they like him or not, they do listen to all sides. And it's at the end of the day, it's their decision to make. They're the elected sheriff, but they knew where to look. And we get pulled somewhere by Danny Botnero, Batman, and we get told to tell a story that we know. And that story, it was important. It was very important. But that particular person, they were never a detective.
No.
Everybody sitting at that table was, except for one. Yet he's the one that has to make the decision. And he listened.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
It rarely happens.
Rarely happens.
Especially if they think they're right.
They won't even listen, but they won't even listen.
I remember you and I had this conversation with a very high person, and we told him, yeah, you're getting it from all sides. Yeah, you're getting attacked. We told you were going to get attacked. And he said, well, he was trying to be nice about it. And we said, look, just invite us into the room. We'll sit in the back of the room. Won't say a word. You'll have your conference. Everybody, all your bigwigs will be there. We'll just sit there. for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we'll get up and we'll walk out. And he said, what would that do? I go, every one of those guys will flush their phones. They'll check their phones. They'll check their cell phones. They'll check their house phones. They'll check their work phone. They'll clean their cars out.
Themselves.
They will be on defense. Right now, you're on defense because they're all coming at you and you don't know what's good and who's bad. I said, that will clean your house by itself. You don't have to do anything. It's just the fact that everybody in that room knows who me and Dan are.
When we did the serial killer, the captain, he had to get approval. And the captain, I worked all through custody, patrol, and everything with. And he said, who's going to be doing the work? And he said, Dan Leicht. And he goes, oh, shit, just don't let him come in my office.
Well, how many times you hear that you walk out of some place and go, hey, bro, you do my phone,
But you were trying to tell him without telling him?
Yeah.
That just put it, you don't have to do anything, just put us there. And why is that? Because without going into it, there's some stuff, unfortunately, that happens that's not always good.
No.
In any job.
No.
So who were the shell answer man? Sometimes it was us. And there were times when we had, the only way we could have done our job is to break in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about breaking into 7-Eleven or McDonald's.
Jail.
I'm talking about breaking into the largest jail in the country. Only because we worked there at one time.
Yeah.
And we are a part of the department. So it's not technically breaking in. We just knew how to get in past circumventing the issues that were going to stop what we were going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And after it was all said and done, what happened? We checked out with the watch commander. And they get a phone call when we walked through the gate. They didn't get that phone call because we didn't walk through the gate.
Because we knew when you check in, the phones start ringing everywhere in the building. It's the way it is, 10 years.
That's where it is.
So we had to get in without that. And even the lieutenant's like, how the hell did you guys get in my jail? We were like, that's the point of it, is we would do stuff that was so, there's some bad people in this world. Yeah. And they need to be put. So my disclaimer to the guys I worked around and drink with and hang out with, they would be, bro, this and that. I would say, dude, we don't have anything to do with the regular Joe. We're dealing with guys that you don't want ever wearing that badge. These guys are disgusting or dirty mother effers.
They shouldn't be here.
And I'm going to do everything I can because they're dirtying up my uniform. I don't care what anyone says. You can be mad at me or not, but this guy's a pig or this guy is dirty. And then I said, we're not dealing with some guy going home early or doing overtime or not. We never touched any of that because they have their own units for that. If they called us, because they have their own equipment, remember ICAB, IAB, they got all their own equipment. They would call us because it was higher than that. It was huge. I mean, we were doing lawyers and you had the special magistrate and you had all that other stuff. It was so high up, and I would say, we're not dealing with any of you guys. So when someone would say, hey, I walk out of an office to say hi to somebody. They go, hey, dude, is it cool? Did you put something in my phone? Did you put something in the toilet? I said, no, you're good, man. It's all clear now. You're good. Go ahead and go back in. And they'd be like, what? It's a kitty? I said, wait, give me an hour with your car, and then you can go and drive home. And you go, what the hell? I'm just messing with you. Well, and what would Dan Beer say? If you see us, we're not here for you.
No. Well, and that goes to the point of, you brought up Suge Knight earlier, and we won't go into all the stuff, but
Suge Knight was
that guy was going to fight. That guy's a fighter.
Yeah,
he's been in Pyro for years. Grew up in Compton. He ain't going anywhere.
Well, we've been dealing with Suge Knight since OSS.
Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere. Well, when that happened, when he showed up on the set of Straight Outta Compton, and he wasn't invited there because he showed up because they were finishing up recording on location in Compton. They didn't get his permission to do that show. So he was mad. He was mad about how he was being told how he's being depicted, and he was mad. He showed up, and one of the OGs was there, and he said, stop, I'll get it. The sheriffs came, and our department came and moved him off the set, and then the OG told him, come on, let's go. I'll get him. I'll take him. Meet me at Tam's at the corner of Rosecrans and Crenshaw. Let's meet there. And it went sideways. There was multiple phone calls coming into 911 at Compton Station for a road rage just between a red Raptor and a silver, I think Camry was.
God, I'm glad I was off that day.
Yeah, and so they show up at Tam's. I mean, Bone shows up first. He's the OG parks, walks up to the curb or a little half wall in the parking that divided the sidewalk from the parking lot of Tam's. And he obviously knew the two guys there, and he starts conversing with them. And the next thing you know, Suge Knight pulls up and pulls halfway into the driveway, and a fight starts with him still in the car. And he pulls out, runs over a dude, breaks his hips, runs him over again, and then runs over a dude that's bending down to help and commits a murder. He could have went eastbound 139th, but he decided not to. You could see him turning the wheel towards the right to hit him. Now, whatever, he was going to fight till the day was done.
Yeah.
Until we gave him 72 pages or 29 pages of evidence.
Yeah.
And he took a 30-year deal.
Well,
I wonder why that was.
Well, because, when I was working in OSS, one of my partners was Mike Cowett. Mm-hmm. And, if Mike and Cowett and him have a relationship.
Good guy. Fantastic guy.
And great. So when people were trying to talk, they were like, we got to find Suge this. And I go, okay.
Call Mike.
Because we worked together and we talked about also. He's the guy who did all his prior stuff before that big one, when he went last time.
Yeah.
But they have a very respectable relationship. Yes. It's like cat and mouse, basically.
Yeah, but you notice they're you can watch it on TV.
Oh, they're smoking cigars together.
Yeah, but they're you got big. Well, so did you. Because they're older. They're both older, so they got to gain a little weight.
But they're all trying to find him, and so that connection's there. But we talk about bigger cases, and we're talking about when we did Justin Bieber stuff, that little stupid stuff. It's like every time we go to training, what's the first thing they want to know? Hey, did you work on
stupid stuff?
Justin Bieber?
Yeah, we did.
Did you do this? Yeah. Did you do that? Yeah, we were on that shit. But people don't understand there's bigger cases. Like I was talking to Ron Duvall the other day, and Homicide, and we were talking. I said, dude, these cases that you guys want to talk about, or you want to, I want to get you in here to talk. He's telling me, he goes, I don't think everybody's going to want to just talk shop. I said, no, I want to talk just naturally, whatever you guys want to talk about. Yeah. I said, my issue is I'm going to more funerals than I'm going to weddings.
Yeah, that's your age.
And some good guys have been taking matters into their own hands, basically. Good dudes. Great. and just eating their guns. And I go, that's bullshit. I said, maybe if we have a way of getting some outlet here and guys can come in and just vent. It's not for anything but just the guys. I'm not looking to be like freaking Rogan or any of those guys. It has nothing to do with those people. Yeah. We walk a different circle than everybody else. There's military, there's law enforcement, there's certain groups of people that are always going to be bonded, and we're one of those bonds. But I can't sit around and watch guys just think that's the only thing they're going to do is do themselves. And they're good people, guys I've sat and had lunch with, and I go, I got to do something. And
it goes back to what you said, was these guys are hurting themselves, and that's a temporary solution it's a permanent solution for a temporary problem. But the bigger thing is that, where have you been? Everybody's saying, "Oh my God, America's at war."
But when someone eats a gun, you go, "When's the last time you talked to him? When's the last time you called him?"
Yeah, you should.
Oh, hey, I feel so bad about this guy, or this person. I go, well, when did you call him?
Yeah.
Because we don't call people and go, hey, I feel bad. It's just not something.
And you should have that outlet.
But to come here and just bullshit for like a couple hours,
it makes you feel better.
Well,
but the thing is
it's also catching up at the same time.
Yeah, you and I know that this country looks like it's at war. Everybody's like, oh my God, we're at war on the street. No, we've been at war at the street. Yeah. You just were asleep. Yeah. You didn't realize what was happening because we took care of it quietly. We don't want any recognition.
The front row seat to the best show in the world.
We've
best
been
show
doing
on earth.
This.
It's these guys that, there's this, like what started this whole thing with our sense of humor. It's just, that's the way we are because that's what we deal with every day. It's like I've said before, a package you have to carry. You put it into a package you can carry every day. Baby's not breathing, husband kills his wife, that kind of grandma, beat by her kids. These things are traumatic for anyone. So the cops are no different. The cops are no different than a civilian. But what I'm trying to say is when we get together, we have our different dialogue is because we all come from the same place. I know what you've seen. You know what I've seen. Even if we weren't there, we both know what we've seen in general. So when I talk to you, I don't have to sugarcoat shit.
No.
And I know when I get guys, I'm getting guys, like I'm talking to a lot of guys and they're like, yeah, dude, I want to come on. I'm like, dude, anytime. And I said, bring your partner. Because I know partners have this bonds that no one will ever break. If you were in the car together, you worked OSS together, anytime you work with a partner, they're your brother. Even if you didn't like them, there's a connection.
Well, So if some people didn't know, if the way we started this, we've been partners for years through multiple different categories. But yeah, it's cathartic. I mean, to sit there and speak, especially if it's something difficult, sitting next to a person that you went through that with.
Yeah.
You know, one of the funny things, not funny, you and I both know, FBI. Well, they're okay. Then why did they call us?
Yeah.
The FBI called us. Now, time out. Now they're actually doing some real stats.
Do you remember I had that argument with a certain person?
Yeah,
like,
did.
the FBI is the best. The FBI. I go, dude, nothing against the guys.
Good
but
people.
they're calling me and my partners. It's because they don't have the volume we have. We're dealing with the largest civilian, I mean, what is it, 4,000 square miles?
Yeah.
I mean, the crime here is just from one spectrum to another. There's no one has more crime than LA and New York.
County,
it's
our
just
county
crazy.
is larger than
You can't
most of
compare.
the states in the country.
And I've worked with feds. They have a different mission. They have a different mindset. I'm going to go by this. Everyone has their own mission. I don't care wherever you work. Our mission's different from, Virginia or Alabama.
And it
Everybody,
should be.
we have different crime. We have different people. We have different ways of treating it. We have different budgets. But it's all the same thing when it comes down to the mindset is we want to do our job. Now, for someone to say that, we're better at this or we're better at that, yeah, you might be better at some stuff, but we're probably better at other stuff. And everybody's got to take and give. You got to give and say, yeah, the feds are probably better when they go like Quantico and they do some of the stuff. But even the guys from Quantico are calling us. I mean, they're like, well, we don't do any of that. I said, well, we do. But when you want to break open an Apple phone, send it there. Well, we don't do it. But stuff like that. But you got to take and you give. I hate when people say, we're the best or we're not the best or we're the good or you're good. It's got to be, you got to kind of give it away.
There's a give and take. And so for years, we're one of the largest agencies. So our earn numbers are so long because they are statistical to the federal government, to the FBI, crime stats. For many years, they weren't actually doing their job. They were fudging the numbers. We know that now. Well, one of the numbers that came out was in an average year for a law enforcement officer, most civilians have 4 to 5 very traumatic situations in their lifetime. On average, I believe I'm quoting this correctly, for a large city, metropolis, Chicago, LA, New York, law enforcement officer, they'll see 4,000 traumatic events in a year. So that coupled with the FBI, going back to the FBI, that's their stat. And I could be, don't take the numbers for, it could be, it's roughly that, 4 to 5 to 4,000. The other thing is the FBI we have a standard that they fall to. The FBI has a standard, and theirs starts with a degree.
Yeah.
Did you graduate college?
Yeah.
Well, I have a college degree, but no bullshit aside, the best cops I've worked with don't have a degree, but they're hella street smart. And that's the guy I want sitting next to me. And no disrespect to any FBI agent, but I've actually been a team leader at OSS doing warrants during the Jerry Ortiz investigation. And to have somebody show up late, because that was a federal task force, and throw a brand new AR-15 on the hood of the car, which is your mapping, the dirty car, and you're going here, and they throw the hood, the damn AR-15 in the box.
They're taking
and
it out
open
of the cardboard box.
And they're trying to put, I'm sorry.
I asked the one they assigned to me, how long she been out. She'd been on 4 months, and she was a school teacher before. And great, nicest person ever.
Yeah.
But I remember Liam looks at me and goes, we're taking perimeter.
Yeah, let them go in. But
they all have ARs. We'll be outside.
And we did the Mongol warrant years ago. And I won't say any names. It wasn't our department. But I walked into the sergeant at arms, and somebody was wearing his cut. And I told him, what the fuck are you doing? Well, we're taking this. Yeah, but you're not wearing it. What would you think if he was wearing your uniform? Take that shit off, dude. Bag it and tag it, dude.
See, but that's the guy who would survive the shootout, and you'd be the one that got hit.
Exactly.
Because I remember I actually broke my hand fighting with a guy, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because he's putting his hand on the shot collar. I mean, the guy's leaving. I got him to leave. Like, it was a situation where, like, you got to go, man.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's talking, because his wife and kid are there. So he's chipping. And, he's chipping the bone in. He's chipping the bone in. He's chipping to the boot. And I get in front of him. I go, okay, come here. And I start talking. I go, dude, you're not going in. You got to go. You're not going in.
Yeah.
You just have to leave. Just leave. And he goes, and he starts to turn around to leave, and boo.
Somebody lays hands.
Grabs his hand.
What the
I mean,
hell?
grabs his arm like he's gonna escort him. And I go, as you know, in slow motion where you see the hands going like this. I'm like, I'm going, oh shit. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And as soon as he grabs him, he turns on him, and now the fight's on.
Yeah.
I break my right hand because we all fell, and my hand was
Yeah.
so so the weight of all of us going down, it ripped my thumb from my freaking hand.
Ouch.
And so we finished, and he goes away, and then we're taking him to the car, and he says, "You know, I had to. I know. He goes, "You know, I had to, deputy." I go, "I know."
Right.
And then the kid that was with me goes, "Hey, sir, thanks for having my back." I go, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Are you gonna fix my thumb?
I said, "You gonna." My hand, thumb's hanging there. I go, I didn't at that time. I didn't say anything. I was just like holding it. But I said, "You don't put hands on a shot caller. He's OG, dude. His ink is prison ink. It ain't street ink. It's the good old green shit." And I said, he's got to do something in front of his kid. He's not. He has to. He has to do something
Well, he
because
came from the streets. That's
Yeah.
his code, not your code.
You're not going to disrespect him in front of his kids. And I understand the code.
And you've nailed it. You started us off with this conversation. And look how long we've gone. The lack of experience in the positions of power at the department is lacking, and it's not just us; it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, you remember the nightclub we used to have to work at because it was horrible.
Yeah.
If deputies weren't there, the city wouldn't give them their charter or their business.
I worked
license.
a couple of spots with you.
So I'm sitting there one day. I'm sitting there one day, and it's whatever. And a young deputy comes up. He's an army veteran, and he's all these things. And he's trying to. He sees me wearing he knows I'm at OSS. He knows what
you got
I've
the
done.
green jacket. You got your stuff.
He knows about me. He knows what I've done, and he's trying to get in my good graces, I guess, if that's the best way to put it. No disrespect to this deputy at all, but he was young. He was off training. He had his own car, doing his thing. And he said, "Man, I just can't wait. Oh, I want to all these things that he couldn't wait to do." And I listened to him for a while, and then I told him, and this is what they're lacking. And this is just what I would hope any experienced deputy would do in that position. And I told him, I said, "Son, you don't want to have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get through my career without taking somebody's life, I can't tell you the times I levered up and levered down with my Beretta, meaning I was pulling the trigger.
Down to half a pound?
And I didn't have to pull.
Down to half a pound
But we
many
were,
times.
yes. And you don't want to pull that. I mean, yeah, you're going to save your life or maybe your partner's life, but you still don't want to take a life. That's not what we're going to work for. If I have to, I have to, but that's whatever.
I remember letting go like all the way, and it was clicked all the way out. Holy shit.
So I explained it the way I explained it. And from a level, I'm thinking to myself, how can I best get this guy in the right mindset? Yeah, always prepare for that. But that's not your end goal.
The rule of OSS was everybody has a gun until they don't.
Until they don't. Right. And you better know when that is.
Well, you treat everyone like, not rudely, but everyone has a gun until they don't.
And so,
because you're not stopping mom and pop, you're stopping.
Well, the worst. You're looking at half the time when you're sitting across.
We're
the
not
desk,
writing tickets. We're looking for a certain person.
Yeah, when you're sitting across, taking somebody probably to jail for the rest of their life. Sometimes you were actually looking into the eyes of a demon.
Oh,
I mean, some of these people were
I've
evil.
met the devil many times.
Me too. And so I told him what I told him, and this isn't about me; it's about experience. And later on, and so 3 months goes by. And I'm back doing what I'm doing. And he shows up. Now, in the interim, I had mentioned earlier on that there was a particular incident at a particular station that was in, where the guy went in to get a routine 916B, thought it was no big deal. I will handcuff him. I'll save face with him, handcuff him when I get him to the car, search him, do all that stuff. And he ends up in a fight for his life, and he's injured so badly, he's retired. Now, the first person there, while that suspect was curb stomping this deputy, and I'm not kidding. That's what put him half paralyzed. He could have pulled the trigger, and he didn't. Not because he didn't know he couldn't. He could, but he froze. So 3 months later, that same deputy comes back to me, and he said, "Hey, Light, you remember me?" I know you are, dude. Yeah, I remember you. And I knew what happened. We were in the know, dude.
Mhm.
We ran everything came through us. The captains, chiefs calling, driving home, chiefs calling, what the hell's going on? Yeah, he's like, you remember me? I know you. Not only did I know him, but I knew everything that happened. And he said, you remember what we talked about the last time I was here? And I was all gung-ho Army. I'm like, yeah, I know. I remember. And you gave me some advice. I said, yeah. And he goes, I didn't understand what you meant.
Damn.
And I said, what part didn't you understand? But that you didn't have to, or if you need to, don't hesitate.
Mhm.
Which part? He goes, I always had it in my mind it was going to go a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's why I told you to stop doing that shit.
Yep.
Let the training take over. It's
Yep.
going to take over. It will.
What have you and I said many, 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 many times to, like, when I was training at OSS and those stuff? He said, no one knows what they're going to do. I don't care if you're a freaking ninja, Green Beret, Delta, I don't care. You can train all you want, but until you're in the shit, you don't know what you're going to do. You hope you're going to revert to your muscle memory. You're going to go straight to your tools and be efficient, be on point.
Mm-hmm.
But until you do it, you have no effing idea when the rounds start going. When the rounds start popping or something major, you're in a fist fight, like fighting for a weapon, like actually on the ground fighting for a gun.
Well,
you could just freeze up.
Yeah.
You could be great. You could be perfect. Or you could just be horrible and just screw it all up.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
Or freeze.
Yeah, that's saying you have no idea.
I have no idea.
So I hate when I hear people say, I did this, I trained this, and this is my gun, and this is my backup. I go, dude, great. I'm glad you have all your tools. But I'm dumb, bro. When they offered laser, I said, I don't want a laser. They said, we're going to put a flashlight on your gun. I said, I don't want a flashlight.
I didn't train that way.
And they said, why? I said, because I'm stupid. When I want one thing to do, I want to pull the trigger and it work. I don't want to flashlight somebody who's shooting at me. I don't want to laser somebody who's shooting at me. I want one thing to do, and I want it to be quick because I know and you know it's fast, bro.
Fast.
And when I got into my thing, you don't have time to think about which button to push. And and people probably go, no, you got these are great things. And yeah, you train with them, great. 10,000 times, and it's your muscle memory. I still think the way is, I don't know. No one knows when it starts going down range what you're going to do. So I'm flashlighting you while you're shooting at me because I'm trying to find a trigger. Mm-hmm. It's like guys trying to reload. They mess it up.
Freeze.
We've had some really horrible stories of guys putting empty shells in their pocket because they used to pick up police the brass and they're dead with empty brass in their pockets. You don't know what you're going to do until it happens. So give me one thing to do. I pull the trigger, it shoots. Now I got a safety or I don't have a safety. Because the Beretta, we had the safety, and then the M&Ps, we got no safety. Mm-hmm. So it's a retraining. But then you got this stupid ass trigger lock. Yeah. They got to release Beretta, you can slap rounds. But the M&P, you have to let the trigger all the way out, all the way back, because that trigger release stupid hinge. Whoever invented that, you're an idiot. And then people started getting low rides. So I'm going to get a low ride holster as a Safari Land. And I go, that looks really cool. Your gun's way down here. And for when you're wearing full kit, your gun's not under your vest. Try running in that shit.
Yeah.
Try jumping fences.
That's all I carried after.
Try fighting.
But
it'll end up behind it's behind your thigh. It's in your crotch.
If you don't wear it right,
while you're fighting, this thing's spinning around your leg.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to do gun retention with something that's behind your leg, and you're holding on a guy by the arm or neck or whatever, and it's another liability. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the hip holster.
To the hip holster. I remember.
And I remember some stories where one guy, people got their guns taken because it's not
where you're used to.
It looks cool as hell.
And they don't train you that way when you train. They don't train you with low rise.
It's just for foot pursuit, it's horrible.
Yeah.
No one can tell me that gun's good. I don't give a shit what you put Velcro on against your leg or something. That thing's going to move all of it. It's a heavy piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And now I'm worried about it jumping fences. It's getting caught on the chain link. And we used to chase people anyways.
Yeah, we used to back in the day. Well, back two things. The kid that came back. And that was one of those moments when you were talking about people that are, ending it because of a decision they did or didn't make. Yeah. And this kid was, he knew everybody knew that he didn't pull his weight as they may have seen. They Monday night quarterbacked him. Mm. right or wrong. And I told him, I said, why are you upset? He goes, well, look what happened to him. I said, how do you know the first curb stomp didn't do that?
No one knows.
No one knows. So you don't.
Well, you talked about Jerry, and I was there. I mean, I was there when it happened, but I rolled. You know,
we all did.
We were all there. You know, whatever it took, we were all there all day and night. But I remember, I was told to stand down because I saw it on TV.
I remember.
I saw it on TV, and I said, "That's one of my guys," because I saw the green, and they were giving them. I think Mark Brooks was giving them compressions on the news, and I grabbed my shit, and I was out the door before I even told anybody. And I was driving. We had the titaniums. So I'm rolling code 2 3/4 to HG from
code 5.5.
and I call up my sergeant. I call Sam, and I said, "Hey, I'm rolling. I think it's one of our guys. I'm going to HG." And he goes, "Yeah, we heard. Stand down." LT says, "Stand down." And I said, "Yeah, you got it." Hung up. Kept going. Well, when I got there, the perimeter was just coming up. They didn't know if he was in and out of a perimeter. He didn't know if he got out of the perimeter, but they still had a perimeter up. So it's kind of scarce, but they're still building. And then, you get there and everybody's like trying to run around. So what do you guys need? And no one really had, "Well, yes, sir, we know. We're just figuring out what happened." So what do? You just start hunting for anything that looks like it could be someone who just killed a cop. So we're doing our thing. And maybe an hour later, my sergeant rolls up with my whole team, and he rolls down the window. He just looks at me, and because he told me to stand down. Yeah. And I look at him, and he says,
"What's the old saying? Ask for forgiveness, not permission."
Well, I heard it was Jerry halfway there.
Yeah.
And Jerry was one of my buddies. Yeah. He was a good man, good dude. I knew him personally. We had a lot of good conversation. Great person. Good deputy. Best smile in the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm rolling no matter what, especially when Oscar, my buddy Oscar, told me it was Jerry. So I said, "Sarge, we're doing this, and this." And he said, "Got it." He didn't say, "I told you to stand down." It was Eric.
Well, Eric knew.
Eric Giambalo was the best.
Eric knew. You know what? I probably should have listened to him.
Yeah.
And when he got there, he already had somebody on his team.
He probably knew it up. He's not going to listen to me. Let me get the guys, and we're going to roll anyways. But you can see that, damn, this is just a tragedy.
Yeah.
He's just the type of person that took over a room. Always in a great mood. Always willing to help people.
Yeah, very charismatic.
And very, very, very supportive of his teammates. Like, he was fighting for Get to get their money.
Very outspoken.
Yeah, and he got in trouble for it,
but in a good way.
But he stuck his neck out for the rest of the team.
For everybody else, yeah.
Because you got people that I'm saying right now didn't deserve any kind of patrol incentive, and Get's not getting it. Those guys are putting their neck out every day, and you're going to say certain people get it, but some people don't. How do you justify that? And then I remember Halaz was like, "Well, we're going to get it for him later or whatever." This is bull. And Jerry really felt passionate about it. So I'm going to trumpet it. He was right.
Yeah, he was right.
Get should have got a patrol incentive right from the beginning. And for him to fight to the end and get kind of blackballed because he was fighting against the department. Yeah. Fuck that. He's good dude.
It's interesting because coming from different perspectives, you were at Norwalk OSF. You were at Norwalk Industry at the time.
At that time, I was at Norwalk
with Eric Giambalo. Well, I had went to Get at that time. You and Dwayne had fought for me, and Dwayne fought the good fight at the table, and I made it to Carson Get. And my first partner was Eric Arias. And
good dude.
Most people don't. Yeah, Homicide now, Sergeant at Homicide. We worked Get together. We both went to OSS. He went to Compton. I went back to Lakewood, but from Lennox. But trying to make it quick. I don't know how long we're going, but
we got like 2 more minutes.
Okay, so everything like you said is what we know happened. We know it's Jerry. We get to the Carson station. Eric calls me, "Where you at?" "I'm already here. I'm already dressed." He goes, "I'll be there in 10, dude. Don't leave without me." So he goes, "Hey, he's going to Long Beach Memorial." Well, people don't know about me. Before I became a deputy, I was a EMT, but I went to Long Beach Memorial Trauma Center as a paramedic EMT, trauma tech. And I was standing in the doorway at Lakewood Get, or Carson Get, waiting for Eric to get changed out so we could take off. Cars were logged in, ready to go. And I look up, and there's MedFlight, and Jerry's on that. He's going to HGH. He goes, "No, he's going to Long Beach." I said, "Well, stand by." I know everybody at Long Beach. I got hired from the Sheriff's Department from Long Beach Memorial. I called Long Beach. It was already pronounced when we got there.
Well, when they're giving compressions, they don't want to leave them there.
No.
Yeah,
they're going to do everything they can.
You're going to get the compressions because, like, the rule with me was, you're not letting me die in this fucking street. I don't care if I'm beheaded. You're gonna freaking give me compressions because once you give compressions, you can't stop. And then you're not calling the ball. You're gonna let the doctor do that shit. But you leave me in the street, I will fucking haunt you forever. Thanks for coming out, though.
Oh, you're welcome. You can have me anytime, dude. We can sit here and
We'll do it again.
all day.
We'll do it again.
That's only like 4 stories.